Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and we come back here and talk about it. And this week we are discussing episode 5 through 8 of Bakemonogatari, an anime that is very interesting. We're going to get into that in just a few moments. But thank you so much to everybody watching live on Twitch and watching on YouTube. You can watch this on youtube.com/JulesTheHuman if you miss any of it, or on Spotify, you can watch the video version of it because we have so much more. We just started season 2 and we have so many anime to get through. All of these anime are in the chest for us to be picked, for us to pick out and possibly watch. And next week we are going to pick a brand new anime, and I'm so excited for that. But I do not go on this anime journey alone. I go with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm I'm doing all right. I'm very opinionated right now. I feel like talking about a lot of things that this show this week has been throwing out there. I have a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack.
You know, this might be the hardest watch for me out of
Yeah.
all the anime that we've seen. Out of anime I probably picked in, real life. I just don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
And it's
I actively this is definitely the hardest one to just sit down and get through these episodes so far that I've experienced on our show so far.
but like we were saying before the show started, we were talking about how in the Crunchyroll comments, we are the 1% that are not enjoying ourselves because
Yeah.
all of the Crunchyroll comments are like, it's weird. It's what, just when I think I know what's going to happen, it throws a new wrench in there. I'm loving it. And there's hundreds of likes on these episodes and there's single digit dislikes. And I consciously added to the single digit dislikes. But like what are we missing?
Yeah, what are we missing? That's what I mean. I I'm having an easy time identifying like the problems that I have with the show that are
Mhm.
making me actively not enjoy watching it. But even those things that you remove, even if you like remove them, I just feel like there's still not a lot there afterwards. Even if you take out the elements that I dislike. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an engaging story at times, but it just again, it feels like it's in its own world where it throws away a lot of normal narrative conventions that make normal stories great, for the sake of wanting to kind of tread on its own path or whatever it is that it's trying to do.
Mhm. Claire says, "What you're missing is that the internet has no idea what the difference between amazing and awful is." There is a very fine line. There is a fine line between amazing and awful content. I mean, sometimes in like avant-garde or indie movies or something, some people could say, "This is amazing. I loved it." And a lot of the, universe says, "I hate it." I mean, one thing that because I've been thinking about A24 movies a lot, The Lighthouse. I love The Lighthouse. It was amazing, black and white, had Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson, and it was amazing. And then somebody could be watching it and be like, "This is so boring. This sucks." So, but like to be so in the 1% as me and
Yeah.
Matt are, it's so odd. Um, because yeah, like Matt told me before, there are single digit dislikes on these episodes. We got to get talking about it.
Yeah.
I am riveted to find out what happened at the end of this little arc here. My oh my part 3, Matt, please. I'm at the edge of my seat. How did it end?
To try my best to put episode 5 oh yeah, before we get sorry, also before we get into it for real this time, just like yeah, content warning this time on sexual assault, because that's going to be something that has to become a topic of the conversation for some reason. So um here we see, I think the show puts it best when it says, "Here we see a male high schooler who has lost his head while fighting a grade school girl, trying with all his might to force acts of sexual assault upon her." Hachikuji gives us a bit of her backstory before Senjo Gahara arrives to explain Oshino's diagnosis of the situation, also revealing that she cannot see Hachikuji, having humored Araragi so she wouldn't seem like she was losing her mind to him. Hachikuji reveals her parents' divorce and cause of her death, leaving her as a restless spirit. Senjo Gahara reveals her feelings towards Araragi before they guide Hachikuji to the plots where her old home was, putting her spirit to rest. Araragi and Senjo Gahara reconcile and promise to each other that they won't keep any secrets about apparitions moving forward as they pursue a romantic relationship.
And then she just comes back.
Oh yeah, Hachikuji arrives again to inform us that she got promoted as a spirit and now is a wandering spirit. So uh, her emotional send off gets turned into a bait and switch.
Yep. And I would have been fine with her leaving, and I would have been okay. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why did we okay, the
Nothing
first red
matters.
flag here, I don't know. I can't find a world, or I can't think of a time where I think talking about a child's chest or about them being impressive or their body is funny. Because I know that's what they're trying to say.
Yeah,
They're trying to be
it's being
funny.
played for comedy.
And I'm trying to think back, like, because you know, back whatever all these comedians say, back in the day, jokes
Yeah,
were
this is because
funny,
this
but
is something that got released 10 years ago.
yeah, and then sometimes it's like, well, we used to be able to joke about this and stuff, and I'm like, okay, yeah, for some things, I guess you could chalk it up to the times, but even thinking in that sense, like back when I was like younger and like a high schooler or young adult, I don't even think that was funny then for me. I don't even
Yeah.
think I would think that was comical. I would just think like still, oh, that's gross. So there's no time in my life where I was like, ha he he's touching a little girl and it just be funny. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and then they do the little like scuffle again because they're trying to play it as comedy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, I don't know. It like that starts off
You
the
lost me.
episode.
You
You
lost
lost me.
me.
And I don't know. It's just so hard to overlook things like that because it's happened twice already or three
The 3
times
times,
now.
because like you said, like, that's what I was waiting for. Like you said, the rule of threes, they're gonna
Oh
definitely
yeah,
do
because
it
I
again
said
in the next episode, and
I
so
did say that.
when it opened up the episode with it, I was like, "Nope, there it is, he's right." They're playing it for comedy, and they're not trying to actually, like, I feel like, say something about, the situation. Whew, and, honestly, when stuff like this starts happening, this is where I also, like, I it's controversial. It's controversial to have it in the show. It's not something that, I'm necessarily finding myself laughing at, but that also just reminds me of like, sensibilities in Western media when it comes to shows like 13 Reasons Why or, like, Euphoria, where it's putting these characters who, sure, they're adult actors, but they're supposed to be representing children in these
Mhm.
very, like, in
Sure.
situations, and it's like it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to watch it when it's presented that way, and that's how I feel in this situation too, where at the end of it, I don't. Are they trying to play it off because, like, she's a ghost and she's not real? She's just a figment of his imagination, like, so that means that there's no weight behind it or context behind it, so it
Mhm.
can be played for laughs. Like, if that's what the show's trying to go with, like, sure, I can. It's like Araragi even said it himself. I understand the reasoning, but I don't. I forgot what he said exactly, but I can see what you're doing, but that doesn't mean that it's something that I enjoy in this show, that I
Mhm.
think is funny. Because
Yeah.
again, especially when talking about comedy, comedy is probably the most subjective type of genre that you can really get into. So there's stuff there that's, yeah, being played for a laugh, and it's not
Sure.
funny to me.
And
It's the opposite
yeah, and
effect.
part of I guess comedy to some is like pushing the boundaries or saying the things that nobody else will say. And while yeah, that's funny and sometimes it's like, oh, the shock value for it. Doing it 3 times, I think I'm over it. Like I'm over it. It's too much going on. Uh Gropes her. you know, all this stuff. We don't need to spend time on it. I just thought it was weird. We
No,
just
yeah.
started
I mean,
again.
that's like, again, we have to talk about that
Just
because
weird.
it's something in the show, and that's actively the things that would keep me from recommending this show to somebody else, because to me this is again portraying that like that depraved like niche that anime does have,
Mm-hmm.
because all genres have their depraved corners, and this feels like it's coming from that. It's in a like, in a vacuum in the show where nothing else that's going on has to do with that, because it's
Mm-hmm.
just being played for a laugh and you're supposed to forget about it. And it sucks because the whole bit of her like mispronouncing his name, I think, is actually a little funny. I would be more willing to talk about that and actually enjoy it if it wasn't for that other like duality that they have going on, because it's just like, even that alone, like just take the other part away and have that name, being,
That name thing
yeah,
that she's
and
doing.
you're already like physically fighting with her. You're already throwing hands, which again is like something being played for comedy, but is kind of weird the more you think about it.
But she's a ghost, so it
But now
doesn't
you're
matter.
getting into, yeah, literally the show just acknowledging again that he's sexually attempting to sexually harass her, and
And it
we're
doesn't.
supposed to be laughing. Like
Yeah,
yep.
that whole extended talk with her was kind of weird. Claire says, "I can't imagine it being funny to most people, though."
Excuse me.
People are liking the show. I don't know. I mean, nobody's mentioned. I read a bunch of comments on every single episode in the Crunchyroll thing, and nobody.
I think I saw one person bring it up, and their comment was the fact that nobody else was mentioning it.
That was
We
me.
just
That
not
was
going to talk
mine.
about this.
That was mine on my burner list immediately. Um, so it's just all kind of cringe, bro. But the cool part, yes, jail, prison right away. Hello, Smash. How are you? Welcome to stream. Um, I think it was kind of cool that now it all kind of made sense that she was invisible to Senjo the whole time, and that's why she couldn't grab the list because she never saw it. I did that, little yarn thing in my head whenever she said that. Oh, it's crazy.
Yep.
I did like that part.
Yeah.
That is one redeeming
The
part in this
reveal
episode.
the reveals feels satisfying in, the to a mixed degree. Some of the reveals are satisfying to a mixed degree, and that's definitely one of the more satisfying ones, when it turns out that she never saw her, and it was because like I didn't want to, seem like I got a problem again,
Hmm.
because she's still kind of has past feelings about the fact that she had an apparition that had to be exercised and stuff.
Yeah. So we get all that
And
information
I
about her
love
whole
when
backstory.
when it cuts to the shot overhead and she's like pointing the other direction where Hachikuji is actually standing.
Hmm.
Like things like that. The when there's just one little cutaway, sometimes like the show catches me and I laugh.
There's
I'm not
one.
not laughing at this show, but there's just there's things in this show that just overwhelm me with how much I do dislike it.
Sure. The one time I did laugh is in episode 8, I think. Episode. Where is it? I wrote it down. Oh, episode 7. Um, People are liking the show though, maybe, but they're wrong. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe I just don't get it. Um, she has a desire not to go home. She's already dead. And we find out like some more information about Araragi, how he would rescue anybody. That's just he's a good person, I guess. I mean, they're sending us mixed signals here about how
That's
he was trying to
that's
grow
to
up a
Senjo
child.
Gahara why she sees him
Okay,
as a good
yes, yes,
person,
yes.
at least.
But it's for us, the audience, to intake it and try to get. I would be on Araragi's side if he just didn't, talk about a child in the way he
Yeah,
did. I would. You wouldn't have to say how good of a person Araragi is if he just didn't do that one thing. He could just
exactly.
not do the one thing, and I would be on his side. Like that's it. It's so weird. She's like, "Oh, you would rescue anybody because you're such a good person," and all this stuff. And I'm like, in the beginning, whatever. We already talked about it.
Yeah, I did.
It's so odd.
I didn't mention it in the recap, but yeah, she just drops the L bomb on him just mid conversation, revealing
Hmm.
that like, she has feelings for him.
Lesbians?
And
That's later.
yeah, that's later. That one's later. But yeah, she's just in love with him apparently,
Hmm.
and I'm left wondering why.
Yeah. Um, Claire says we might need to add a burning in the fiery pits of hell bad category to the list. You know what I will say? I was thinking about this and I didn't know if I wanted to say it or not. I've had a lot of stuff happen in 2023. I lost my job, 5 years. I got in a car accident. That was so annoying and so frustrating that I had to deal with that for like a month. And I think I would go through all that again if I never had to watch this anime ever again. Like if somebody said either go through that or watch 1 through 8 one more time, like this is tough. I am having a time.
And it's like it hurts as well the fact that we can't even say, because the reason we watch anime, one of the core reasons, one of the core values, it's one of the pillars of our rating system, the animation, and we can't even enjoy the animation if it
No.
was well animated because we're sitting here watching this in 480p.
Yeah, which is a really big disservice.
It's
I
like
think
just another huge blow where I'm watching this, and every episode I just at the end of sorry.
you're like that. Just like
I'm not only squinting, but I feel like I'm having a fever dream because everything's just so hazy and blurry,
mhm.
and I'm just
Wait. Maybe
not
everybody
better than
likes it
1080p.
because yeah, maybe everybody likes it because they saw it in 1080p, and then they're like, oh, maybe that's what we're missing, Matt. Um, the big revelation. Everything changes once you get to 1080p. So that ends her final farewell, until she comes back and that whole thing happens. So she's gonna be there. She's gonna be a recurring character in the thing, I suppose. The problem is not the animation. The problem
Yeah,
is the abominable writing. I
I
would
I
say,
I agree that the writing isn't the best, but like, the writing is something that you get out of the light novel exclusively. You get the writing and you just get the paneling, but you bring animation into the game and then, we're supposed to be able to enjoy the animation and we can't even have that.
yeah,
At
I think
least a
animation.
show like Black Summoner or even the Duke of Death and His Maid, like we had great things to say about some of the shots and some of the sequences of the animation, even though we didn't ultimately like those shows that much. This is a show that I'm thoroughly not enjoying, but I can't even enjoy on the animation side aspect
Mhm.
not simply because it might not be well animated. I don't know. Can't tell you. Can't tell
Uh,
you.
yeah, I think the animation is the highest point of the anime. I would say it's the highest point for me
And
out
for
of
that
what
to that aspect, it's mostly the presentation aspect, not
for
the
sure.
actual animation.
I like that they're trying stuff. I respect
Ooh,
the
this is
effort.
this is tough. This one's tough.
So we end that little arc of My Oh My. Part 3 is ended. So we go on to episode 6, Suruga Monkey Part 1. We get some new development, and this is more like episodic with little stories following the same characters. So episode 6, what happens?
I need my excuse me,
It's all
my
good.
accountant to hook up the blood pressure machine because I'm spiking, bro. This is tough. Sorry. While on his way to school to study, or no, on his way to study with Senjo Gahara, Araragi encounters Kanbaru, an underclassman from his school, questioning him over trivial things until he reveals his association with Senjo Gahara, to which she departs. Senjo Gahara and Araragi discuss their future in the world before Kanbaru would be brought up, to Senjo Gahara's dismay. Then briefing Araragi on their past relationship before he would go on to call Hanekawa and ask her about additional info, where she would explain that they used to be the Valhalla combo in middle school. Um, on his way home from studying, Araragi would be attacked by an apparition before Senjo Gahara would show up with the money that he forgot to bring to pay off Mr. Oshino.
We get a new intro.
We get a new intro.
Pretty cool. Basketball girl, just vibing.
It's another thing.
It's another thing.
First one where more than just one character is the antagonist
Sure.
or is involved. We get all three of this like weird love triangle arc that's about to be presented to us.
It's really pretty. I like it. We find out that Kambaru is the ace of the basketball team.
um
Um, so we meet this whole new character. We meet her. She has like these uh, things covering her arm. I didn't even notice it the first time until they started making a big deal about it. I was like, oh, okay. I did not notice it because I was trying to read so fast. So
yeah,
everything
like
goes by so
he
fast.
brings up when she appears, he's like, shouldn't you be at basketball practice or something? And then she shows her arm with the bandages.
Mhm.
And so immediately I'm like, okay, that's something that I'm supposed to be thinking about. But um again, we have our protagonist, Araragi, seeing like the underwear or undergarments of the introductory another female character being introduced. Um, so that's like all of them that he's either had a panty shot of
He's
or
seen all of them.
he has seen Senjo Gahara just completely naked.
Mhm.
So I have to, keep tally on that
As
because
you do, as with all your friends, you always see
when the
them.
show makes it so apparent, like the first thing, like it's giving us his perspective, and it's the first thing that he's seeing every time, or
Mhm.
first thing that's happening. What's going on? What's going on?
So then Senjuhara talks to Araraki about their relationship, how they are romantically together now, how she's never broken up with a boyfriend before, um, how it needs to be clear about how their relationship is based on what I don't know. They're just in a relationship and they're just vibing. So it's cool. I get it. They're young, I suppose. So I can just talk it up to that. Like, hey, want to be boyfriend, girlfriend? Okay. What does that mean? I don't know. We're just gonna spend some time together.
Yeah, I mean, they promised each other that, if anything comes up, they're gonna sit down and talk about it, and they immediately don't do that when the next problem comes up.
Hmm. Classic
So
relationship stuff. We get the Valhalla combo. We know that Kanbaru knows Senjukuhara's secret. She was the first one to know, I suppose, a year before Araraki. And then Homie gets punched hard as fuck.
he gets kind
There.
of laid out.
He gets wrecked. Which is kind of cool. That was the coolest part. This one and then the other fight, I was like, okay, cool. The
Yeah,
two scenes, this one
thanks
and
for
then the
that.
fight. Yeah, thank you for that. For us that are
Please, sir, can I
man,
have some more?
please give me something, please. And he just
A
whoo,
crumb.
a crumb of content, please. Uh, hey man, want to be my boy? Oh wait, I just saw your Crunchyroll history. Never mind. Oop, oop. You
I mean,
watched
yep.
Bakemonogatari. I will not be in a relationship with you. He gets punched hard as
I've also
fuck by
watched
this
Future
guy.
Diary,
Future
so
Diary, yeah. You watch Future Diary. I can't. um, is there anything else here? I'm just not about it. There wasn't a whole lot
there.
I mean, there's a lot of exposition, but
Yeah,
like
it's a lot of
what?
exposition and setup this episode.
Hmm. And I'm okay with just moving on.
Not a lot to sink your teeth into. Again, just like there's a lot of talking and not a lot happening moment to moment other than these like conversations that feel kind of real at times, like the pacing of them and stuff, but it's just I
Content that I don't
still
care about. I don't care.
exactly. I'm failing to see like again, if it's just that cultural disconnect of all of this should be interesting and stuff
It's
because there
not.
are certain concepts that are being brought up and stuff and it's just yeah,
Sorry, Matt is married already. Oop, I missed
it's
it.
true.
When's the wedding? Um, yeah, I just don't care. I wish I did. I wish I didn't miss it. Um, I was the flower girl at the wedding. Oh, nice. It already happened. Thanks for the invite. Episode 7, Suruga Monkey Part 2. What happens in this one?
Araragi confronts Kanbaru as he recognized her as the assailant from the other night. Admitting to it, Kanbaru would explain her monkey's paw problem as well as her infatuation and obsession with Senjo Gahara. Araragi brings Kanbaru to Oshino, who diagnoses the arm as an apparition of the rainy devil and not a monkey's paw.
Again, I think it's like somewhere in there there's translation where it's supposed to make sense because we had the lost cow with the snail. Now we have the monkey, the rainy devil. We are missing something here.
Well, okay, so this time with that whole situation, again, Oshino goes on to explain how she subconsciously decided to draw the association with that to make it something that she could be at peace with. So subconsciously, she knew that she had the desire to do the things that she'll talk about in the next episode.
Mhm.
But so in this case, it's like I'm gonna tell people it's a monkey's paw to absolve myself of the guilt of what's actually happening
Sure.
because I don't want to admit it.
Mhm.
And even he's like, I've never heard that story before. But then
Mhm.
when they're talking they're talking about it to Oshino, Araragi is the one that says, well, her wish goes to contradict itself. Like he's the one that presents that information and not her.
Mhm.
Um, so it's like it's kind of trying to do a misdirection this time, I think, instead of a play on words.
Okay. Sure.
At least that's what I think the show was trying to do. And I mean, I did fall for it to a certain degree because I thought it was a monkey's paw situation that was going
Yeah.
on because that's one of my favorite stories out of scary stories to tell in the Dark series, like that everybody's familiar with that one from what I thought. So I liked the setup and again the reveal of that situation, and foresaw the fact that she was actually subconsciously vying to take Araragi out of the picture because saying I want to be by her side again implies I want to be you and not
Mhm.
have you in that spot. So
For sure.
it's
Claire says,
that part of it is all right,
yeah.
you know?
Claire says I did actually quite like their gods and spirits. They're suitably weird.
That's what I mean. Like I like that type of stuff that the story's like kind of doing, but again, then you like just
Well, the for the most important part of the episode, they do spend a large portion talking about if she's wearing panties or not. So
is that oh yeah, that's this episode. That is definitely yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, she goes on to do that and kind of talk about how like yeah, her shorts could be considered panties anyway. So it's presenting the question, are we all just looking at her panties? Why is that the question that we're
It's
presenting
an
right now?
extended period in the middle.
It takes a lot
Um
of time to
because while the other stuff is cool, like you were saying, like the other god stuff, the weird, like it has a good like I can see somebody coming in and being like, I want to do a little show, a little anime show about little ghost stories. And they're going to have these incorporated spirits and they're going to be overarching with this character that knows a lot more and sort of the guiding person that helps these young children that are afflicted by all of these things. And here are the little ghosts. Here's the little stories I'm going to tell. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. It has a good like template here, and then all this other stuff, somebody came in and was like, let's put this stuff in here too, and let's do this instead, and let's talk about this for an extended period of time. And it's just so weird. It's very weird. Kind of takes you out because like I'm on the road. They're going to go and find out what's actually happening to her. And then on the way, they're having this conversation. And I'm like, what are we doing? Just get to the thing. I don't care about this. I
yep.
don't care. It's
I don't
silly.
have I don't have it that's like over on my media shelf, but there is an anime that's like that where it's about this like author going through like post Edo period Japan or something, trying to collect 101 ghost stories for a novel that he's writing.
Cool.
and it like episode by episode he's just encountering these different spirits and apparitions that all have these different rules that they abide by, and he meets these like this group of traveling exorcists, for lack of a better term. um and yeah, it's like it's just episode by episode a different story that it's kind of telling. It's not a long anime, it's only like 10 or 12 episodes long,
Hmm.
but it's good. And I thought at the front that that's kind of what we were going to be getting with this one,
Hmm.
but it's definitely gone in a kind of, again, like avant-garde, just self-obsessed road where
Yeah.
it's if it's trying to make me feel uncomfortable, if that's the point, good job.
Yeah. For
Honestly,
sure.
good
I
job.
mean, you could honestly say that because a lot of the cuts and a lot of things we're not talking about them, but we talked about them last week. How it's just more of the same. We're getting smash cuts of a bunch of stuff. We get live versions of something, and then it flashes to another thing, and it flashes to text for half a second, flashes to more text, and just all this stuff. And it is uncomfy. So if you wanted it to be like a horror sort of thing, you could have built up on the horror a little bit more, but it is pretty uncomfy, a little unsettling. The funny part in this one though was that she was telling her that she was Kanbaru was telling Araragi her whole story about everything that's going on, and then she says the biggest issue, Araragi, I'm a lesbian, and then he just has this face, and that's when I laughed. He was like, oh,
Yeah,
like just
that
his mouth open. I was like, that was so funny.
his reactions through the conversation when they were in the book room or whatever, like, kind of had me at times. Like the one cut where she was like, "Dang, you're just so gifted by the gods with this information," and then it's just the cut of him like in the pile of books. Like,
Yeah.
I got a chuckle, sure, but it's just when there's so much around it that I just don't want there, just to get these few chuckles out of me. It's just, it doesn't feel worth it, and I feel like I'm slogging through waist high quicksand, like just trying to like get through this show, but it's dragging me back with every single interaction, where it's on one part very funny. I like the Red Book Room. I like their interactions. Their way onto Mr. Osino. Why are we talking about her panties and whether or not she's wearing them, or whether and this and that? Why always the harsh juxtaposition of the comedic styles? Because it's going to too many different places that I feel like, how is it in, it's like trying to please everybody, and so ultimately it's going to make nobody happy, but so many people like it. It's just everybody's eating it up, and I don't understand. So if there's something that I'm missing, please, like, I'm welcome
Could
to
it
the
be
idea that I'm
something
missing something.
could it be
I'm
something
welcome to that
that
idea.
could
It
it
doesn't
be
mean that
like
I'm gonna like it retroactively, but I'll at least acknowledge the fact that I'm missing something. But right now, I just feel like there's just what? Why?
hello Cosmo, how are you? I'm away from my anniversary stuff since you're doing the show. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Could it be like I watched Doctor Who. I watched a lot of Doctor Who, and they talked about the bootstrap paradox. Could it be that people are saying they liked it because other people are saying they liked it, and it was just kind of like a maybe like a meme to say that, or they think they should say that they like it and they don't want to be left out to because like who liked it first because they're the ones, or who fake liked it so that everybody thinks they have to like it now. And I feel like that's what it is, because I think I would find, even if I said I'm not enjoying it right now, I could in a normal setting I would be able to say I don't, it's not for me, but I understand why other people will like it, and I understand why it's a good anime, um and why other people might enjoy Attack on Titan because it fucking sucks. But um this time I'm just like, I don't get it. I'm not seeing it, and y'all are all lying. And who liked it first? Who bootstrapped it? And everybody kind of just followed it to thinking that you need to see this anime and love this anime, because I don't. I don't. And everybody's in the comments is like, I don't know what's going on, but man, this is crazy. I'm gonna keep watching. I don't want to. This is a gem. And I'm like, what? Huh? I'm confused. Claire
I'm
says,
yep, the same way.
that was how I felt with Edge Runners, which was until this the worst thing I saw this year. Yeah, everyone says it's excellent. It has the same rating as Arcane, which actually was excellent. While I do like Edge Runners, I don't think it's on the same level as Arcane. I did enjoy Edge Runners. It was very confusing, but I just kind of let it wash over me, and I was like, okay, cool. It had a cool story, not on the level of Arcane, but I get what you're saying. Is it bigger on the inside? You want to find out? Um, I'm just trying to survive this hour here.
Yeah.
So Kanbaru traded her soul for 3 wishes to the Rainy Devil, the low class demon, and it sets it up for the finale of this little story. So Suruga Monkey Part 3, Episode 8. What happens, Matt?
We are sent right into an explanation of Kanbaru's backstory narrated by Araragi. Due to a contract made with a devil, she would become possessed and murder some of her classmates, later on going to lengths to attempt to never let it happen again. Meeting Senjo Gahara, she became a sort of relief to Kanbaru, but after the crab incident, they would become estranged. After seeing Araragi with Senjo Gahara, Kanbaru would wish to be close to Senjo Gahara again.
Uh,
However, this contract would interact with her subconscious, which had murderous intent towards Araragi. Osino puts them in a situation to attempt to void the contract made between the Rainy Devil and Kanbaru. However, it would be Senjo Gahara's arrival that would save Araragi's life and void the contract made by the devil. However, still leaving Kanbaru with her altered arm.
and she's still there.
And
And
she's still there
nobody dies
because
in this anime.
consequences don't exist in this universe.
Just fuck it. Why not? I mean, sure.
Well, I guess the consequence is that she gets to keep that arm, but that's how her character was introduced. So
Nothing happened.
for
This was
Senjo
nothing.
got I mean not Senjo Gahara. No, yeah, Senjo Gahara got her weight back.
No, it went to Araragi.
Araragi, that's right.
So she didn't.
And then I'm already forgetting characters' names. Oh my goodness. Hachikuji
Yeah.
got to be put at rest, but she just came back as a wandering
Yeah.
spirit. And now Kanbaru
The
is
harem
over her
grows.
murderous intent, but still has a demon arm.
And I want to talk about that, but she wishes that she could run fast. She became the ace of the basketball team instead. Because she didn't know if that, the whole
The
wish
curse was
thing,
still going.
yeah, the curse would, continue to kill people because of her wish to go fast. Trying to kill Aragi, chop off. They're deciding whether or not to chop off her arm. They need to chop off her arm. We find out that he has even now a tenth of his power since he was a vampire. Because again, they keep mentioning it. He was a vampire in the summer. If you didn't know, which
He was only able to do that because I didn't write her name down. The little vampire girl drained him
yeah,
of a bunch of his blood, and so that made him more powerful because she did that.
I thought it was the opposite. That they were saying that he shouldn't have done that because he was just about to get into a big fight or something.
Dang.
She's a vampire too,
Yeah,
and she's
exactly.
just
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of there. The cool part, the part that I was so hyped for, was the whole fucking, was it a punch or a kick, blowing a hole through this man. That got me up. That woke me up when I was watching this episode. I was like, oh, and
Yeah,
then his guts were spilling out, and
and
then
swung him by the guts.
that was cool. I was
That
like,
was cool.
okay, that's dope.
Yep. And
That was a cool
then
part.
yeah, and then I'm right back down to
Yeah. I did like all the colors during that little fight scene. It wasn't really a fight scene because it lasted like 2 minutes, maybe not even. There was a bunch of colors not to show the blood. It was like pinks and greens, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I like that part. That moment, cool. Grabbed his intestines, swung him around, threw him into the wall, a bunch of colors, and then Arag or Senjo shows up, and then I was really confused because Senjo is hurt with her at the end, telling her all this stuff that I'm not really in love with you, but I want you by my side this whole time. So is Senjo saying like, let's get together, but I'm not in love with you? Is she still going to be
I feel
romantic
like
with Araki?
that's a declaration of platonic love. That's how I see that.
Okay,
Like, I'm
because
not
yeah,
in love with you, but I want you around.
yeah.
I don't want you to just disappear, but I'm not in love with you. So if we can be cool on that part, then we're cool. And her desire was to just be by her side again. So she ultimately gets what she wants, but she
Hmm.
doesn't get her love interest because it's not reciprocal,
Hmm.
which is, I guess, something.
She didn't die.
It's yeah, it's realistic at least way of that playing out, where it's just like sometimes that does happen, but it's just like I don't feel the same way, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you have to, get lost, but you have to respect that.
Hmm. So then the demon has left her. It's stated that the demon left her, but she still has the demon arm.
Because Senjo Gahara saying that if she were to ever kill Araragi, then she would stop at nothing to kill Kanbaru, which would void the contract.
Hmm.
So that's what voids it out,
Yeah,
apparently. Okay, sure.
I felt some semblance of this when I was watching or try to watch Jujutsu Kaisen because like just things were happening. I'm not saying that this is worse or on the same level. I'm just saying this is the same kind of confused where like the words are coming at me and I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is there's so many different things, but like why does this happen when this happens, but not
I won't get on a soapbox or anything,
I know I saw
but
your face.
I'll just lightly acknowledge it where, like, at least in Jujutsu Kaisen's case, what I see with that show is that it takes everything that shonen has done in the past with all of its kind of setup and introductory stuff, and it takes those experienced shonen like trends, and it kind of like cuts off and trims a lot of the fat and just gives you a unadulterated dose of the things that people like shonen for. Like these are the core concepts of why people like shonen, and that's we're just gonna wring that out, and that's what the show is gonna be.
Oh,
At least that's how I see that
okay.
being, like, portrayed. That's what I think that show's strengths are. In this show's case, it's like strengths are not really being presented to me in a way that can outweigh the negatives, where the negatives is the poor pacing, the horrendous resolution that we have to watch this in, and the abstract nature of the concepts that at times I feel like are can be a disconnect of culture, but at other times I just feel like are maybe a disconnect of modern sensibilities, um, that can be strung out even longer. But that's where I'm at with this show, where I just it's there's way too much that I just don't enjoy, flat out.
It's tough. We're here at episode 8. Going into episode 12, going into episode 9
There's
through
nothing
12.
that the show can do to bring me back around to a point where the past 8 episodes
That's what I was
are, like, just justified, and I'm like, "Oh, that I think completely differently." Like, I might think slightly differently, but to me, a show shouldn't have to be watched over and over again. And again, let's bring up another one, Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is a little bit convoluted feeling at times, and it's not until the entire narrative is actually consumed that everything actually makes sense, but it at least has the narrative beats for me, that string you along enough to keep you involved with where the show's trying to go, and it's upon rewatch that you get to see little foreshadowing beats of future events that might have been major twists, but you're able to predict it as a viewer seeing it the second time. That's what's satisfying to me about a show that's rewatchable. It shouldn't be completely convoluted the first time around, unable to, string along the chain of events and make it feel compelling in any sort of structural way for you to only then be able to enjoy it the second time around. To me, that's the same concept as playing an MMO where people are like, "Oh no, 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 no. You have to play till hour 100 and then it gets fun." It's like, "No, why should I have to do that? Why should that be a thing? This should be an engaging experience from start to finish. Otherwise, I'm just throwing my time into the garbage."
I think that's what the biggest issue for me is just it feels like the people that made it don't respect my time. And I they talk about this a lot when they're talking about like mobile games or games that I've been playing lately. And somebody um put it recently for a game that I just started, Ether Gazer, that they understand that we're adults and that adult gamers have to do other stuff. So the dailies don't take long. The dailies take like 2 minutes or something, and you could just do them really quick and then get it over with and just go on with your work day or whatever. And I like that. And I do, I guess maybe as I get older, I do respect companies that put that thought into it. It's like, hey, we want you to log in every day, but we'll make it super simple because we know you got to work, we know you got to do something with your family. So I feel like they just don't respect the time that I'm putting into their show, and they really think that they had something here,
Yeah.
and it's
Because again,
really just
we've
not
we've
hitting.
watched Odd Taxi, we've watched The Promised Neverland, we've watched Psychopaths, and all of those shows had more talking and more dialogue than they actually had like action sequences.
Yeah, I would say
And
Odd Taxi
those
has
were
way more dialogue than this.
yeah, and yet here I am just not enjoying a show that, yeah, like you said, arguably is doing more with its presentation and art style in some ways in those shows, but because of the overall package that I'm getting this in, I'm not clinging on to any part of it. I'm not rooting for any of the characters. Everybody's shown themselves to be awful so far. Like, just I don't understand what I'm missing. And that's
You don't
where
want a
I
girlfriend like Senjo Gahara?
I just I
No.
wish
So
I could have a better way of unpacking my negative feelings without just feeling like I'm blasting on this show,
no,
because that's what
for
it
sure.
feels like at times, but I feel like I've been really trying to give it a fair shake, but I'm not coming up with a lot of positive things to say anymore.
I mean, to be fair, we haven't done this for any of the anime that we've already seen, and it's been a year, and it's about due. So it's okay. I think so because we've done season one, and now we're going to season two. As this being the first episode, as the first anime that we watched, was kind of crazy.
Foreshadowing?
So there's no way for you to get back in. I think
I don't think so.
one thing that I
Yeah,
think would be cool wouldn't
that's
get
where we
me.
started.
Yeah, I don't think it would get me back in. Like you, there's not much you can do to get me like fully invested into these characters anymore. I'm past that. But something that would be cool to see, since you're keeping all the characters, have them all come back and work together to deal a final nail in the coffin to some demon or devil or something like that. That
So
would
the
be
power of
cool.
friendship would be cool?
Power of friendship, all of the people that we've helped along the way, the weird vampire girl that we've been seeing as on the stairs and stuff like that, make her seem like the big bad in the end, or have her be so powerful or something like that. Give us something. I'm down for that.
She's basically the only other character that's been introduced, so unless we get another, character introduction as the big bad at the end who's just gonna feel like a like a General Armstrong from Metal Gear Rising, where at the last 20 minutes of the game, the final boss just appears, "Oh, you're fighting the senator of the state, cool." That's, like, what the show is gonna do it's gonna be like, "Oh, actually, the president of the United states is flying on over and he's in a demon state and we have to use the power of friendship to defeat them."
I mean,
And it was
it's
all a
basic.
World War II
Sure.
metaphor.
Basic storytelling tells us the whole Chekhov's what is it? Chekhov's gun situation. Is that what I'm trying to allude to? They've been giving us this bit of information that he was a vampire. He got turned to a vampire by some lady in the summer. They're got to do something with that, and they got to do something with the girl that's on the stairs. Those are my two predictions. That the big bad at the end is going to be the vampire lady that turned him into a vampire in the summer, and then it'll either be the girl that's on the stairs where she has amnesia or something and she doesn't remember, or something else. I don't know. That's my prediction. Do you have any predictions for the final episodes?
None positive.
Okay. So
I think since we're still on the topic of these, I mean episode 4 5 has me not feeling great about any time Hachikuji gets reintroduced.
sure.
So I don't want to see the power friendship get involved because I feel like somebody's gonna get groped for that to happen or something. It's gonna
Maybe.
make it weird. It's gonna do something weird with the whatever the finale is. It's gonna do something to put a very bad taste in my mouth. Where again, it's like it's just the show feels like if I'm missing something here, again, I'm completely open to the concept, but I'm just gonna go on record and say that it feels like the meme of the guy that defends the child character getting groped because she was actually dead and she was actually 20 years older than him. So he's actually the minor in the situation. It feels like that meme, like this show is just like a fanfic written by that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my estimation so far. If there's some ultimate revelation that completely changes my mind, I'm completely open to that. I'd be happy that that would happen, but this is where the show has left me at this point. That's where I'm
Yeah,
at.
I mean, if somebody does like it, I don't want to like cut you off and be like you're wrong. I mean, that's not either me or Matt
Nope.
as being like, oh, well, you're wrong. I hated it, and you're absolutely stupid or something. I genuinely do want to know the parts that you like. So if there's anybody that watches and are enjoying the show, Bakemonogatari, why and what are we missing? Because I do want to understand. Um, one, what's happening,
Yeah.
but
If it's
two,
if it's just supposed to be get lost in the absurdness, then I'm sorry. Then it's not for me.
yeah.
And that's just how that comes down at the end of the
Mhm.
day.
So starting season two, we're doing things a little different. Next week, we're going to be watching the final episodes of this show, 9 through 12, and we are going to come to a decision, F through S, together. It'll be my vote for what I think it is, what Matt's vote, and there is going to be a way for you to vote as well in the Discord. There will be a poll probably on Friday, in case some people finish early. There's a poll that'll be posted in the Discord. Check the links. Where's the button? There it is. Join the Discord. Discord link is in the Spotify thing, in the YouTube thing, all that stuff. Or I'll probably just put a link to the poll in the episode. Put the link to the poll in the episode of the YouTube or on Spotify, and it'll say, what do you rate Bakemonogatari? And you could vote S, A, B, C, D, or F, and that'll have some weight into where it'll be placed on
For all
our
the
one board.
categories, and then we'll give the overall boom, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Categories of how we rank it.
Storytelling, animation, vibes.
Vibes.
Did we want to add were we gonna add music or like sound or keep it at the 3?
I don't know. I kind of like the three.
The 3's
I'm cool with
good.
that. Mhm.
Yeah.
After 364 episodes, it starts getting good. You just have to stick with it. Oh yeah.
Again, yeah, hey, say that and it's like, okay, sure, but I'm never gonna get there, so glad for it.
I mean, that's what people say about One Piece.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
like, "Oh, episode 500, critics' choice." Mhm. Yeah, bro. I'm like, "Okay." So there'll be a way for you to vote on what you think this anime is going to be, and next week we're going to pick a brand new anime out of the chest. One of these. What am I hoping for? Honestly, I don't know. I want any of those. Bungo Stray Dogs probably because I've been wanting to get into manga. Um, but any of those are going to be picked for the anime for next after this one and the second anime of season 2. But
I mean,
Matt,
you know what they say about hitting rock bottom.
you can only go up.
You can find me streaming on my Twitch on Thursday mornings right now at Matt Galley on Twitch. You can follow me on all my socials, just add an ITS at the front, it's Matt Galley. Find me in, Jules's Discord, playing games, play some board games. We're playing the finals right now. It's really fun.
Finals, so
finals
good.
is really fun.
Big fan.
When we're not here just trying to get through the hour, where can the people find you?
Jules the Human on everything, Jules the Human on all social media. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/JulesTheHuman. Shout out to all the viewers. Most of the stuff that I did this year was like podcast stuff and other things, and I got my like YouTube year in review, and it was pretty cool. There was a lot of minutes watched, so thank you for that. Go watch the podcast on Spotify. Look up the Jules and Matt Anime Hour, and all the podcast stuff will show up there, and you can watch it.
Give us a thumbs up while you're there.
Give us a thumbs up. Give us a review. Let us know what's going on. Yeah, you can find me playing Honkai Star Rail or other mobile games and watching wrestling and stuff. But we're going to talk about it next week. We're going to finish this, and anything is better than what's happening right now. Okay, see you next week. Well, hold on. Maybe I'm speaking too soon.
Let's knock on wood there. Bye.